See, traffic agents. 500 new traffic agents. So if you have a car, folks, just keep that in mind. The city is going to pay for that 500 new traffic agents, additional uniform. The only increase in this year's budget. Shameful. Every city councilman approved it. Present city councilman approved it here. And I just wanted to let you know about the middle class and jobs. I think Mr. Doyle or Mr. Ortiz touched, I think it was Ortiz who touched on it. The city does not make the laws to supersede the state laws. The state laws are imposed upon the city. Up in Albany has to be changed. The Assembly and the Senate must be changed up there before we can have an effect on our quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
What policies can be implemented to strengthen the working and middle classes in Venice?
Sure. There's a lot that can be done, frankly. Again, the best pathway into the middle class is a union job. While union jobs are evaporating throughout the country, they're not in the city of New York and in the state of New York. That's going to be strong labor laws. And I would encourage you all to protect them by voting against the Constitutional Convention, because as we've seen in other states, when we open up the process, big money comes in and they try to take away our union jobs, and I would encourage you to fight against that. The middle class is really in danger throughout our district, throughout our city, but possibly nowhere more so than Van Nest. Because you know what? Once that Metro North train comes in, your property value is going to go high, sky high, and you guys are going to be hot commodities. And let me tell you something. There's an old expression in government. Kenny Augusto says it, and I've often repeated it on the campaign trail. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And let's be real here. Let's be real here. Let's be real. There's a reason developers are taking an interest in this race. Again, guys, and let's be honest here also. And again, I'm not going to personally attack anybody, but from a factual standpoint, there is one candidate in this race who's talking about upzoning parts of Van Nest. That's an unpleasant fact that people don't want to address. I'm fine with that. But that's something that needs to be dealt with as well. And frankly, if we upzone, if we develop these things, the median income is going to go sky high. A lot of people here are going to be priced out of their homes. And again, rent regulations, we're bleeding out thousands of rent-regulated apartments each and every year. The landlords in the real estate lobby, they don't pay my campaign. I don't have to toe their line. I can be independent. Frankly, we need more people in government who are independent. Final thing I think we should do, we need a land bank, because all these foreclosed homes, I want the city to take a more proactive role and develop them into 1- and 2-family homes. And let's try to do housing more that way, in consistence with the zoning. If you want to do affordable housing, that's fine. Do it consistent with our zoning. Let's preserve what's made Van Nest so special. And let's preserve what's frankly made a lot of neighborhoods in this district so special. So it's a multi-pronged approach. It's not easy to get to. We need good union jobs, we need to protect our rent-regulated apartments, and we need to fight these developers in gentrification at every turn, because if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the middle class has to have an intellectual capitalism that involves common sense. We need to be creative. We need to have imagination. We need to have leadership. We need to analyze the issues and the problems. We need to write a script, write a book, and perhaps maybe do science in order to participate in the future within the middle class. Now, I got that from a scientist, and I listened to it 1,000 times, and it made a lot of sense. Old school middle class work is going out the door, right? And we're struggling. The middle class work is struggling. Our taxes are high. So we need to find new creative ways in order to be progressive. Use our minds, our creativity. Like when I built my skate park in 1988. If you go to Yankee Stadium, I built the skate park. That park is now 30 years old. But that recreational program developed hundreds of kids, not only in New York City, but in the tri-state. And children from all over the world came to my skate park just to bike ride. That was networking. And we developed networking skills. And can I tell you, 30 years later, we're still good friends. A lot of the kids that came into the neighborhood, stood in the neighborhood, developed the neighborhood. I walked away from that program, and that program is still in existence. Because I was creative, because my friends had imaginations, because we stopped doing drugs. And that's what we need. Intellectual capital. Like Mr. Newspaper man here that writes a column all the time about politics. And is surviving and doing very well. Right, Mr. President?
Thank you. All right, next
You
question.
like that, right?
I like you.
I know you love me.
Okay, this is who is next up on the?
Now, Mr. Ortiz.
No, it's you, okay.
I just went, but I'll go again.
I would be terrible at the shell game, you know.
Tell me. I love
But
it.
you know, okay, this is another economic question. This is specific to Van Ness. What ideas do you have to increase incentives for small business development from White Plains Road to East 180th Street?
Repeat that question again, I'm sorry.
What
Increase the
ideas do
180th?
you have to increase incentives for small businesses, for small business development from White Plains Road to East 180th Street? On Morris Park Avenue.
On Morris Park Avenue.
Yes, yes, sorry about that. Thank you,
Okay.
John.
Well, you know, we have a mixture of homes. How many actual storefronts do we have between here and, let's say, all the way down to the train station?
It's a small amount, but
A
there's.
small amount, right? Everything is still residential. I don't see that much traffic there economically. I don't know if there's going to be much growth. I think there's going to be more residential growth in those areas. I think between White Plains and in this block, let's say up to this block, I mean, very busy area. It's a concentration. People come here from all over the place, and we have a great. My brother used to work at the pharmacy there for Victor's for years, many years ago. It's been here, what, 30 years?
More.
Yeah, more. And so the whole area has always been, this has been the hub. This has been the hub. These two blocks have actually been the hub for this part of the area. And I think we could help them. I'm against the business improvement district, the bid that's being proposed. I've been to the hearings, I testified again, I'm the only candidate against them, solely based because it's a 6% tax. And it's an additional 6% tax on a bid that's only gonna benefit upper part of the district instead of this area for 6%. Who's gonna pay for the 6%? The milk increases, the seniors are gonna pay for it. The bread will increase, the seniors are gonna pay for it in this area. It does not help a 6% imposed tax on small businesses. We could do it better. The services are duplicated. It should be there. They're already paying enough taxes on it, and that's what we need. We need to keep them open. If we imagine at night, we need to give incentives. I think more of a tax write-off on the small businesses. We need to empower the small businesses. We give all these big developers big money. We actually subsidize development in Co-op City, the other side, Yankee Stadium. Who do you think paid for it? They did? Oh, stop it. All the politician friends paid it. And on top of that, the taxpayers paid for that. So I think we need to give small, the end question is, we need to impose an ability for them to do tax reduction and empower the small mom and pop stores. Thank you.
John Doyle.
Thank you for the question, and I'm the only person on this panel, even when our other colleague was here, who's actually worked on small business empowerment issues in Van Ness. I was central in getting the bank, Cross County Federal Savings Bank, into this neighborhood, doing a banking development district. I helped write the proposal. I went through the census tracts. I proved this was an underbanked community. I proved that there were more seniors living in this community than many others. I proved that most of those seniors didn't have cars. You need somebody who can do that granular level research and then present the most effective case. Now, I didn't present the case on my own. We had Jeff Klein, who's very well spoken. He did that, actually. But I gathered the material, and everyone is well known that I was very involved and integral in that process. Where do we go from here? Because that has not solved all the problems, nor was it intended to, but it was supposed to shine a light on Van Ness to show that after we lost the post office and after we lost the school, that Van Ness is still alive. And I think this group was a bright, shining light as well. First thing we need to do is we need to pass the Small Business Jobs Survival Act. The thing, again, I bring it all back because this is what's killing this city. This city's a one industry town and it's run by real estate. And frankly, real estate, a lot of these building owners, if they can claim that the storefront is vacant, it's a write-off on their taxes. It shouldn't be that way. So if you're a small business owner, they'll just keep jacking your rent. There is no commercial rent control. That's why we lose things like Kohl's on the northern side of Morris Park. That's what actually, what was it, Manja, what is it?
Roger Bevan.
Yeah, no, it was that. It was Mamma Mia's, or what was it?
Oh, Mamma Mia's.
Mamma Mia's. That's where they went out. Again, they couldn't survive. Most small businesses fail in the first year. And when you have a roller coaster with your rent, what's the incentive to stay? The landlords know that if you're a small business, location, 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 and they have you over a barrel. And frankly, I think we need to look into empire zones and reduce taxes in certain economic depressed areas. I think White Plains Road would be a good candidate for that. Also, I think, and again, I don't, if someone's religious here, it's not a personal attack on religion, but we need to look into these storefront churches that are open one day a week that do nothing for the economic vitality of the area. I want to bring the Doe Fund here. And last thing, in less than 10 seconds, is I would like to work with our state electeds, and I'll work very closely with Mark because I'll still be up in Albany after I win this race, to make sure that we're doing a rebate for small business owners. So if you're a 24-hour store, if you close between the hours of 2 and 6, let's give them a utility rebate. Let's close those stores because that's not positive economic growth we need. That's hurting the neighborhood.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'll be more on time next time. There are only 3 of us now.
That's what you said before.
I
You're
know.
doing very
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm being subsidized.
ladies and gentlemen, our president came to the Bronx.
Sorry.
So,
I don't want
Ladies
to
and
yell.
gentlemen, our president came to the Bronx and he got free land in Drosnick. Golf course, 18 holes, thanks to the community board, right? And he didn't pay any taxes for 20 years,
Wow.
right? Why couldn't we put there some type of science tech, medical tech, environmental tech, a nutritional tech programs? Hunts Point was an industrial area. Drosnick could have been an industrial area. Why don't we build electrical cars in the Bronx? And why don't we sell them to the Bronxites at a fraction of the price to make them? Why don't we use the technologies in our environment and think big, right? We've become the leaders in building electrical cars. The business will boom. And little parts for different parts of cars or whatever it is that we need can become the industry of the Bronx. But I'm thinking big. And some of the old school people here may be looking at me, maybe saying, hey, it's right. Our parents worked at Hunts Point, the meat markets and the other markets and the other industries, right? But what do we build today? We build nothing. We had Zenith when I was a kid. Remember that TV company? We didn't even drive American cars. We don't build anything. We don't even buy our own suits. As a history teacher, I looked in the 20s, everybody wore suits, right? We don't even wear suits. We wear the lining of clothing. So let's be real. Let's look at the history. What made America? America was an industrial nation.
yeah.
Nobody here, none of these guys are going to propose things like that because they don't think out the box. They're worried about the monies of another candidate. It's impossible to be worried about that when we know that we need jobs. How can we build a technological environment in the Bronx instead of an ice skating rink in Kingsbridge? Do we need that? 7 ice skating rinks in one building? When we can bring industry to the Bronx? Thank you.
I think you're next in line.
Okay.
All right,
You know, it'd be helpful if these guys have a sign. They say like 15 seconds, because I'll get to the pitch.
I can get to the pitch, don't worry,
All
just
right.
stay on
All
top,
right,
okay?
all right, I'm trying.
Okay,
More
this is
sign than
still-
everybody.
this is
Doing
still
really
good.
good.
That bell's from the 1920s, I bet.
It's very
And
effective.
they'll last another 100 years.
Yeah.
That's great.
Made in America.
Made in America.
This is another economic question that's specific to Van Ness. Okay, many seniors who live in Van Ness want to stay in Van Ness. Are there obstacles to creating senior housing? And if so, what will you do to create senior housing in Van Ness as opposed to affordable housing?
Well, good question. Most seniors need affordable housing, because if we start building luxury senior housing, that's not really going to serve a population on limited income. Zoning is part of it, and I'll be honest, I toe a hard line on zoning, and we're going to need to make some compromises in order to get the senior housing. Now, And I know Mr. Cementelli speaks about this a lot, and I'm sure Mr. Ortiz is very passionate on this issue as well.